Well, welcome to Boatique, Louise. This is our podcast for the first week of January. To start off, it's very nice to meet you. It's very nice to get a face to the name of Louise Overend. So I'm going to start off with just tell us a bit about yourself and where you came from.
Okay, perfect. Well, obviously my name's Louise. I'm originally from Liverpool, but now I live in Antibes, France. I'm an interior recruitment consultant, so they're specialising in sort of like stewards, stewardesses, spa therapists. My background was actually HR and finance, but it was just like a chance meeting that when I was in Antigua that I met with a yacht recruiter, and they phoned me a couple of weeks later and said, oh, would you be interested in moving to the south of France and working in recruitment? And I think I was on the plane within about an hour and I've never looked back. So no, it's absolutely fantastic. I love living here. Antibes is amazing. It's such a great place to be. It's a lot warmer than Liverpool, which is obviously very grey at this time of year. So yeah,
That's very interesting, actually. What are the chances of that? That's quite a story to start off. Being in HR and stuff like that, and jumping from that type of department into the yachting industry, it must have been challenging. I mean, jeepers.
Yeah, it was. Obviously having the HR background really helped because I was always very familiar with recruitment, CVs, that type of thing. But the majority of my job was working in finance, so I was always with numbers. It wasn't really, sort of like out there and stuff. I met this recruiter and they said, oh, we think you'd be a really good crew agent. So I thought, oh, okay. So I came down here and just absolutely fell in love with it. And it turns out that it's, my passion. I was on a plane, as I said, within, an hour. I was already quite settled at home. I was in like a management position. I had bought a house there. So I like to think of this is kind of like a midlife crisis thing.
I think
it turned out into the best thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, it's quite the story for an adventure, really. I mean,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
can you tell me more about YPI Crew and how it contributes to the superyachting industry?
Yeah, we're actually 20 years old this year. We had a very nice party in the summer. But we're a team of 19 now. So we all specialize in like different areas. I mean, as myself, I'm with stews, but we have an engineering team, a deck team. But it's really amazing because obviously a lot of the candidates that started with us 20 years ago, actually now I just realized that YPI is older than some of my candidates now, which is actually insane. But a lot of the candidates that we started with that were green 20 years ago were sort of like now all captains and chief stews and chief engineers. So, we actually get, it's more than just recruitment. We actually help, we get to see these people through their careers. We do a lot more in terms of, trying to really help people as well, like doing a lot of market research. Me myself, I love statistics, that finance background,
Yeah.
So, I like to be able to sort of like help people plan their career and say, realistically, this is the amount of charter yachts that are in the industry, or, this is the amount of, green candidates that get jobs based on the fact they have or haven't done courses, things like that. So, we don't just send CVs. We actually, we do a lot more sort of like mentorship, advice to both our clients and crew, because, they're the same people at the end of the day. So, we really like to sort of like invest in and provide solutions, because quite often we get, our captains we've known phoning us panicking in, a remote area, and they suddenly need an expert, bosun, and, they're panicking, they've got guests on. So we actually like to think, right, okay, we're actually providing solutions.
Wow, that's actually amazing. To hear that, it sounds like the load of work is for YPI Crew is quite immense. So what are some of the struggles that you've come into in the industry? You just told us like a small one there. Are there any ones that, in specific?
I think the biggest struggle we have at the moment is the post-COVID skills crisis. I like to call it the unicorn crisis myself. I've just done an article on this, but it's about how obviously, during, before COVID, candidates who'd be coming into the industry, they'd have, 2-3 years of hospitality experience, under their belts, and they'd have good longevity. And then suddenly, like COVID hit, the only industries that were open were supermarkets, pharmacies, health centers, things like that. So we're getting candidates now that don't have the same background that we used to have for, entry-level positions. A lot of candidates that were experienced got made redundant from their jobs because obviously the yachts, they couldn't travel. People went hide on geography. So, you know, if you were in America and an American boat needed you, they'd take you. So there was, you know, especially candidates in South Africa, sorry, who couldn't actually get to the yacht. So they've got huge gaps on their CVs. So now when chief stews and captains and, you know, chief engineers are looking for candidates, there just simply isn't the right set of skills anymore. So, you know, it's very frustrating for them, but, you know, as always, there's always a solution. And I think, you know, we have to adapt and we have to think, right, okay, how can we actually help the industry itself by training the people that we need, you know, get people on board and train them. As long as you've got the raw talent in someone, you can train them, and that will help us get over this struggle at the moment.
Post-COVID struggles are worldwide.
Yeah. It's like aftershock.
For travel wise, a lot of South African crewmates and stuff like that could not get across to different countries because of the
Exactly, yes. And they had like a really good career running up to COVID, and then suddenly they were out for 2 years. And yachts are like, well, they haven't been on board for 2 years. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not a reflection on them.
We're just out of, for my own personal curiosity here, were the yachts during those times, they were obviously closed, and crew members had to stay on board for lockdown and things like that. That must have been a struggle for a lot of them. I mean,
oh yeah, it was. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. We spoke to a lot of crew that were just, you know, that especially the ones that were supposed to, because when it happened here, it was at the end of, say, the Caribbean season. So everyone had already done a full season and was looking forward to taking their leave in April time. And then, of course, got stuck on board. And then we're there for like, you know, for a long time, you know, unable to even, you know, get off the yacht, or, you know, even provisioning became really difficult. So it was a bad time. And then obviously people that were expected to go back to work suddenly got trapped in other places as well. So it was, you know, it was a very difficult time for yacht crew then.
And coming into out of COVID and into this new way of life that we are now trying to figure out, can you see a boost or like I don't know, like a better enthusiasm amongst new crew members and new crewmates? And
yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of candidates coming in now who, as I said, you know, during sort of, you know, those times when, you know, it's, they still went out to work. You know, these candidates have got grit. They've got, you know, something that like they want to work, they want to do well. So they still went and worked in supermarkets. They still went and did all these things, you know, for their own, you know, because they're determined. So I think there's a lot of, you know, qualities there, like, you know, wanting to work, wanting to, you know, be part of a team and provide back to the, you know, the country and stuff that, you know, lends itself well into yachting as well. So whereas they aren't coming through with, you know, maybe the hard skills, they're coming through with a lot of, you know, soft skills, as I like to call it, you know, that, you know, are going to, with a little bit more training, are going to be fantastic and, you know, for the industry long term.
That's very cool. And now on to more informal things here. What are your favorite memories or experiences from your experience or from your time on the boats?
Oh, I mean, every day I get a little nice memory. I know it sounds really corny, but I do. But you know, when either I meet like a really promising candidate, or someone phones me to tell me that they've got their, you know, their job, or someone, you know, achieves something, you know, it always like makes me really happy and stuff. But I think one of my favorite memories was, again, coming out of the whole COVID thing. I spoke to an events company in London and managed to arrange for them to do an online cocktail masterclass. So I think there was me and there was about 40 stews, and they were from all over the world. And we had yachts coming in as well. And we all went and bought the same ingredients. And we all got to make this cocktail live at exactly the same time, which was so much fun. And then at the end of it, we all got to have like a little cheers. And, you know, you could see the sun setting behind someone, the sun rising behind another person. And there was just this one moment where none of us felt like we were in lockdown. And I absolutely loved that. I think that was one of my favorite memories, definitely.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. I mean, the type of experiences that one can have on boats is life changing, and it's such a simple thing that you experienced as well, which is
yeah, it was really special.
That's very cool. And now another informal question: where's the best place that you've been to, and that you wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to obviously go to without YPI crew?
I think it would have to be Antigua. You see, for me, when I travel, I'm more of one of these people that goes off grid. So normally you'll find me climbing a mountain in Bolivia or chasing lions in Africa or, something like that. So I think, it's like a Caribbean island that's seen as like a resort is somewhere that I never would have even, come onto my radar. But obviously when I've been there for the yacht shows, the English harbour is just absolutely, it's absolutely stunning. Going up to Shirley Heights is absolutely amazing. So like that, I think Antigua for me has a very special place in my heart, but it's somewhere that I wouldn't really have ever looked at. So I think that would be that would be the place I'd say, definitely.
Antigua, Barbados, the Caribbean, Jamaica, those areas.
Yeah, they're just something else, and the way of life there.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, it's just so different. It takes, whenever I go there, it takes me a day or two to kind of like unwind and go, oh, it's okay. Time's fine. When you're used to working, like you're like, where's my drink? Where's this? It's nice. I still unwind a little bit.
That's hilarious. Okay, and then we'll just end it off here. Thank you so much for your time, Louise. Really appreciate it. But the last question I'm going to ask you is, do you have any advice for people coming into the industry that are eager to start their career in yachting?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first day that you actually think to yourself, I'm curious about yachting, is the day that you should actually start preparing. Because I speak to so many people who think, oh, well, I was going to do it 4 years ago, but now I'm worried because of this and that and this. And I'm like, well, so I think the day you think, right, okay, I'm curious about yachting, it's something I want to get into, start researching, look at, what you have to do, your exams, look at the seasons, read articles. I quite often get, stews coming to me in December saying I want, a job. And I'm like, well, the seasons are, this, so do lots of research. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you can't enter yachting. The amount of times I hear crews saying, well, I've been told I'm too old, or I'm too this, or I'm too that. There's a yacht for everybody, and everyone brings positives to every position on board. I'd say, always give it a chance. You only live once. If you try it, quite a lot of my stews do it for 6 months and they go, you know what, it's not for me. I don't like it. But, it's something that you've tried, and really save up as well. Save up lots of money and make sure that, you're willing to wait. It's not like other jobs where, you get apprenticeships or, you can just walk in the door and, sometimes you might wait, a good sort of like 2 months where you are having to like self-fund yourself. And I think that can be quite a big shock for crew coming in. But yeah, don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. You can always do it. And
don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. I'm gonna write that down in my quote book. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. That's awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Louise. I really appreciate it. The information and experiences that you've shared in your story is really inspiring. So I really do wish you all the best. Congratulations on a fantastic year, and happy New Year, Merry Christmas, the usual greetings. And thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.